What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my Dana White's Contender Series breakdown and prediction video for week number 6. And yeah, really looking forward to another week of Contender Series. Week 1 was a stinker, but since then it's been consistently just really good fights, really fun fights. A lot of fighters getting contracts. It's been a very, very fun season overall thus far, I've thought. So looking forward to another fun week. Before we do so, I'm going to be doing a contest this week. So my guy in the Discord, shout out to Bobby TMF, he hits me up and says, let's do a contest. So we're going to do a contest. To enter said contest, first, leave a like. Second, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you are subscribed. And then third, comment down your 5 picks for this card. Comment down your 5 picks. And whoever gets the most correct, $25 to first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first. So comment down your 5 picks. And shout out to Bobby TMF, if you hit an underdog pick, if you pick an underdog, you'll get $10 each for each underdog pick that you get correct. So in theory, the winner can get up to $75 for a win if 5 underdogs come through, right? So say you get 2 underdogs right, you'll get the $25 from me and you'll get $20 from Bobby. So yeah, so comment down your 5 picks for the Dana White's Contender Series week number 6 card there. All right, and yeah, with all that out of the way, and by the way, I will be out of town the next couple days. I will not be doing a fight companion on Tuesday. I've been having a lot of fun with those fight companions, so we'll be back week number 7, but I will be out of town the next several days, getting back this weekend. So just wanted to give you a heads up if you guys are wondering where the hell am I at. All right, let's get into it, guys. We're going to start with the first fight of the card, and this is probably my least favorite fight on the card, but it is what it is. We got Rafael Uchekbu going against Cody Cavanchek. We'll start with Uchekbu, who is training out of Grundy Fight Academy. He is 30 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach, 10-1, and he's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Uchekbu. He has a 90% finish rate, 40% of which come by knockout, and 50% of which come by submission, for an overall finish rate of 90%. So yeah, notes I have on Uchekbu. He starts very quickly. He likes to bring pressure, likes to come forward, likes to walk his opponent down. He throws hard kicks to the head and hard kicks to the body. And yeah, he lands some pretty nice combinations in there. And he likes to back his opponents against the cage. And once he does, he'll let off with a lot of punches. He'll let off with some knees as well. Can land some very nasty knees when his opponents are backed up against the cage. And yeah, I just like the overall aggressiveness he brings to the table when he's standing. And he has a good amount of volume for the most part. At some points in the fight, he will be a little bit conservative in there. He won't really throw a ton, but once he starts going, once he starts coming forward, he's going to start throwing a lot of volume. And overall, the volume is pretty dang good for Uchekbu. So in terms of the grappling, he's a very good grappler. I have seen him pull guard for some reason, and that's just something I don't like to see. That's something that's going to maybe work on the regional scene against regional fighters, but at this level, if you're pulling guard, you're probably not going to have a ton of success for the most part. But that just shows he's very confident in his ground game, sometimes a little bit too confident. So he will attempt submissions from bottom. He'll attempt a lot of submissions off bottom, and he can lose minutes off his back. And I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate when guys will lay on their back and attempt submissions, and the round just goes by, tick, 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 and you're losing minutes. You're losing rounds with that. With that said, though, he is a good grappler, and he has gotten submissions off his back, but at this level, that's not something you'll see working a lot. But if he can get on top, he's very good, and he is a very slick grappler. Very slick grappler. His wrestling is just okay, I'd say, but he does have some good entries, and he can get guys down, and he's definitely submission over position, and he does make some mistakes that could make him end up on his back. He'll get a little bit too over aggressive and just lose position there, and it's something else you don't really like to see. But yeah, I think overall he's solid. He's dangerous wherever the fight goes. I like the volume, the aggressiveness on the feet. I like the very slick grappling. And like I said, the only concern is probably him just playing a little bit too much off his back. As far as his opponent, Cody Cavanchek, he's training out of Niagara Top Team. He's 27 years old, 5'8" with a 67-inch reach. Cavanchek, 8-0, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for him either. And he has a 63% finish rate, 38% of which come by knockout, and 25% of which come by submission. Some notes I have on Cavanchek. I don't really love the volume on the feet. It's late. This is the last fight I taped. It's late. It's Monday night. Just lost my fantasy football week by 1 point. CJ Stroud, get some help. CJ Stroud, get some damn help. Throw Nico Collins the ball. And after that game and after losing by 1 point for the week, I had to go and watch, Cody Cavanchek, and he's just not doing anything. And these fights they're so long and so boring. It just takes a long time to get going. Some of his fights, it's just like watching paint dry. But like when he does get going, he does look solid, but it just takes a long time to get going. I don't know if it's because his last 2 fights, I believe, were like 5-round fights. It's like he doesn't really start fighting for a while. A lot of moments of inactivity, way too much waiting. But yeah, when he does start to turn it up, he can be reckless in there. He can wing big shots. He does look to, try to put your lights out. I don't think he has the most power, though. And yeah, he does have some solid knees, some good kicks, but overall, just very little volume coming from his hands. He does have some decent wrestling, and I think that could potentially come into play here. Has some good ground and pound if he's able to get on top, very aggressive with that ground and pound. And I think he's okay. I think he's just okay. I would like to see a little bit more volume. I'd like to see a little bit more just in general. And I think it probably would be wise for him to wrestle here, maybe win some minutes on top. But with that wrestling, if he is going to wrestle, he is going to have to watch out for the guard of Uchekbu. So yeah, not my favorite fight of the card for sure. I don't really know about either one of these guys. I'm not really sure either one is really a UFC level fighter, especially for bantamweight. Bantamweight is one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC. I mean, bantamweight's an insane division. I think a lot of guys in the bantamweight division beat either one of these two, but Uchekbu can lose minutes off his back, and I guess that would be my concern here. Like, there is a pretty clear path for Cavanchek, but he's a very good grappler, and I gotta favor the striking for Uchekbu there, just because he does more. He comes forward. He's just more active in the striking, and yeah, like I said, the concern is him just attempting submissions off his back for 15 minutes, but that won't really. Or I mean, if that happens, it's going to be like the worst fight of the season. And that's definitely not going to get Cavanchek a contract. So, yeah, I'm going to take Uchekbu to win this fight. I'm going to take him to win this fight by decision. Just more urgency. I think he's a better striker. I think he's the better grappler. But I can see a path for a very boring potential lay-in prey for Cavanchek. But that's not really his game to begin with. So, yeah, Uchekbu by decision. Minus 155 for Uchekbu. Cavanchek is plus 135. I like Uchekbu to get it done. But like I said, not too excited about either one of these guys. I'm kind of excited for this fight, though. We got Paddy McCrory going against Hwang. We got Paddy McCrory. He's training out of Fight Academy, Ireland. He is 27 years old, 6'3" with a 73-inch reach. He is 6-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Notable wins or losses for McCrory. He did lose to Robert Valentine on The Ultimate Fighter by armbar, but he also had a submission win of his own right on The Ultimate Fighter against Mark Holm. McCrory has an 83% finish rate. 50% of his wins come by knockout. 33% of McCrory's wins come by submission. Notes I have on McCrory. He has some pretty solid leg kicks, and I really like his hands as well. He has good combinations, has a lot of power in those hands, and yeah, he's a finisher. He has some very flashy kicks that he'll throw, and I really like that when he throws, he does throw in combination. When he does throw and land hard. Can do a little bit backing up at times, but yeah, he's a very solid striker, and he's very dangerous once the fight's standing. I was really impressed with what I saw from McCrory. He's a fun fighter to watch. His striking has a lot of tools on the feet, and will do some fun, flashy things. The grappling would be the big concern with McCrory, though. He can be taken down, and that ground game potentially might be an issue for McCrory. He can't be controlled, and I've seen a couple of fights where he's getting taken down and controlled a lot. Multiple fights where he's getting controlled. He's another guy who's submission over position, and he can also lose position and end up in bad spots, not just on his back, but end up in bad spots and get in trouble on the mat. And I just don't think he's the best on the mat defensively. Offensively, he's aggressive with the submission game. He can submit you. He does have some submissions, but defensively, he does leave a lot to be desired. He can be out-grappled. He's been subbed before on The Ultimate Fighter. And like I said, he'll also one of those guys who can end up on bottom and lose minutes just threatening submissions off his back. He will jump the gilly, and he's jumped the gilly more times than he really should and end up on his back. And you just can't be doing that at the UFC level. It rarely works. Jumping the gilly, it just rarely. When have we ever really seen it work? Not often. It works sometimes, but not often at the UFC level. With that said, though, he did get a guillotine in one of his fights. So, but still, he's dangerous with his submissions, and if you make a mistake, he can submit you. And I like what I see from the most part. I think his grappling defense and grappling IQ would be the major issue going forward. But in this fight specifically, I think he'll be A-okay. As far as Insu training out of KPW Single Combat Hwang. He's 31 years old, 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. He has 8-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Insu. Insu has a 75% finish rate and 0% submission rate, which is important. So notes I have on Insu, he's some very heavy leg kicks. He throws kicks to the legs and throws them very, very hard. He can be pretty low volume at times, and there will be long stretches of inactivity for Insu. I'd say the leg kicks are probably his best weapon. I'm not in love with the volume at all, though. He just really needs to let his hands go a lot more. And he kind of just comes forward. He just stands in the middle and looks to land leg kicks for the most part. But he's pretty long. He has some power when he does let his hands go. And when he does start to let those hands go, he does leave himself very open. And I mean very open. Like, the striking defense is pretty abysmal. But he's throwing with bad intentions in there. He's not really worried about any offense coming back at him. And I'd say he has absolutely no striking defense whatsoever. Like, the hands are very low. He eats punches with his face, and don't get me wrong, he's tough, he's durable, but eating punches with your face, it's just not a recipe for success. Doesn't move his head rarely at all, and I do think he's going to get KO'd very, very soon. Will it be in this fight? Maybe, but in the future, you just can't. You have to have some striking defense, at least somewhat of striking defense, right? In terms of the grappling, I didn't really see much grappling from him. He can be pushed against the cage. He's not really looking to go out there and grapple. 0 submission wins. So, although I think there may be a potential hole in the game of McCrory in terms of that grappling, I'm not sure Insu's going to go out there and pursue that path. So, yeah, not really high on either one of these guys. I am kind of looking forward to McCrory. I was watching some of his fights in Cage Warriors, and they were doing the Paddy McCrory chants they do for Paddy Pimblett. I guess that's cool, but yeah, I'm just not high on either one of these guys. I think any decent grappler probably smokes McCrory on the mat, but that is not going to be a problem here with Insu. I was not too impressed with Insu at all. I don't like the volume, and I just hate the striking defense. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to get served here in this fight, and I think that somebody is probably going to be Insu. I think McCrory's the better striker, and everything he throws should probably land on the face of Insu here, who just doesn't play defense. I think a head kick knockout for McCrory is very much on the table, and that's what I'll call. I'll call a first round head kick knockout for one Paddy McCrory. From a betting perspective, we have McCrory minus 245, and we got Insu plus 210. So we'll see if we can get another Paddy into the UFC, and I think we do. Give me a Paddy McCrory to get it done by first round knockout. Up next, we have Adam Livingston going against Thomas Gantt. We have Livingston, who is training out of Long Island MMA. He's 24 years old, 6'2", with a 73.5-inch reach. Livingston is 6-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Notable wins or losses for Livingston there. He does have an 83% finish rate. 67% of his wins come by knockout. 17% of his wins come by submission. Note to Evan Livingston. He has really good pressure, really good combinations, and he has power. Love the volume from Livingston. I like how aggressive he is. He's always going in there and looking for the finish. He's a fun fighter with a very fun style. I think Livingston is going to produce a lot of fun fights in his career. He's one of those guys that's willing to eat one to give one, and he does stay in the pocket a little bit too long after throwing, and he can eat big counters and potentially could get hurt and knocked out in the future. But, he doesn't really seem to mind getting hit, which is always a scary thing. But he's tough, he's durable. And obviously, he's never been knocked out. He's undefeated. So he's pretty big for the division. He's long, he's rangy. And yeah, I like the striking of Livingston. I was pretty impressed with what I saw. And I don't think he has like a ton of power. But he can knock you out. He can knock you out with his hands and even with his kicks. Seen a couple knockouts where he's knocking dudes out with some kicks. And dudes are just, they're getting dropped, and they're getting dropped a lot from Livingston. I think in pretty much every single fight, it's like it looks like this dude's barely touching him, and they're knocking him out. But so maybe his power is the real deal. His takedown defense looks good to me. Haven't really seen it tested too much, but every time I saw somebody going for a takedown, he was doing the right thing, stuffing the takedowns. Will attack some subs here and there, but that's not really his game. Mostly looking to try to put your lights out. And yeah, I think he's going to be a pretty fun fighter to watch going forward. His power is decent, brings decent pressure, and brings exciting fights. Yeah, Adam Livingston, very, very exciting fighter, very exciting style. As far as Thomas Gantt, he is training out of Jawbreaker Boxing. He's 32 years old, 5'11" with a 76-inch reach. Gantt is 10-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses as well for Gantt. He has a 90% finish rate, half of those coming by knockout, 40% of those coming by submission. Notes I have on Gantt. So at distance, when the fight is at range, at distance, he's not throwing much volume at all. And he's a tough dude with a very good chin. And what he'll kind of do is just kind of walk forward and just kind of eat what you throw at him, and he's trying to get you in the clinch. He's trying to get you against the cage. He's very hittable, but thus far he's shown that he can take a punch. And yeah, he's trying to just walk forward and just get you to where he wants you. He kind of reminds me of not that he's anything like this guy, but he wants to do what this guy does, and that's Andreas Gustafsson, and that's just fight you in the clinch. This guy's a clinch fighter, and a very good one at that, and he's also very good on the ground. So he wants to fight in 2 areas, and one of those areas is not at range. So if this fight is at range, he's going to be in serious trouble, you got to think, in this matchup. But yeah, when he gets the fight to where he wants it, which is in the clinch, I mean, this guy's disgusting in the clinch with the knees and elbows. I saw saw him knock out some dude with a nasty knee, and I think it was his last fight of the fight before, just landed a nasty knee in the clinch, just fooled his opponent. Thomas Gantt in the clinch is no joke. And this guy's very strong. He can hold you against the cage, and he's a decent wrestler, and he's really relentless with that wrestling. And once he gets that wrestling going, he just sticks to his opponents like glue, and his opponents can't do anything about it. I mean, I really like this guy's style. His control's very good once he gets on top, and once he does get on top, he's dangerous. His grappling is very slick and very impressive as well, and he's aggressive with those submissions. And what I like about Gantt the most, I think, is that he has a game plan, and he sticks to that game plan, like Andreas Gustafsson outside of the Renat fight. But yeah, Gustafsson's going to push you against the cage and kind of have his way with you, right? And that's kind of what Thomas Gantt does. He gets you where he wants to. He pushes you against the cage. He tries to take you down. If you get back up, you're going right back down, rinse and repeat. And this guy has the cardio to do that for 15 minutes. So, yeah, I was really impressed with the relentless wrestling, heavy pace, and the grappling he brings to the table. So kind of a clash of styles in this matchup, which I think it's going to make for one of the most exciting fights on this card. So yeah, both these guys actually really impressed me. I think the hands and the power of Livingston could potentially pose some problems in this fight for Gantt when this fight's at distance. And he's going to have an opportunity to potentially land something and hurt Gantt, when the fight's on the feet, because Gantt is hittable and will eat punches with his face. But man, I was really impressed with the style that Gantt brings to the table. He's relentless with his clinch game, the wrestling, and the grappling. And he'll kind of break you as the fight goes on, and he has the cardio to go out there and do that and do that game plan and use that game plan. I like the knees and the elbows and the overall activity in the clinch. He's not just looking to hold you there and win minutes. He's looking to beat you up and finish you in the clinch, and if he can get on top of you, it's his world. I don't think Livingston's faced this caliber of wrestler, and it really just faced a guy like Gantt here. So I'm going to take Gantt to win this fight. I'm going to take him to win this fight by potentially breaking Livingston down the stretch and winning this fight by 3rd round TKO. I do think somebody probably gets served here, but I'm going to say Gantt wins this fight by 3rd round TKO. Up next, we have, this is going to be a tough name to pronounce, man. We got Muhammad Ali going against Iwu Baraniewski. We'll call him Iwu. I mean, I usually like to write the names down and pronounce them, and I like to go to the announcers to kind of get the pronunciations, but even then, it's like I still couldn't figure it out. But, Ali, we'll start with Muhammad Ali. He's training out of Team Lloyd Irving. He's 31 years old, 6'3" with a 78-inch reach, 4-0 and 4-0 in his last 5 fights. His only 4 fights. Notable wins or losses for Ali. So yeah, he beat Jared Gooden by decision in his last fight back in March of this year, which is interesting because Ali is a light heavyweight and Gooden is a guy that's fought at middleweight and welterweight. So Gooden took the fight, up a weight class on short notice type thing. But yeah, still, I mean, even then, it's like Jared Gooden's a UFC level fighter. I know he retired, but still, good win. Ali has a 75% finish rate. 3 of those coming by knockout. No subs on his record, which is interesting. We'll talk about why that's interesting. So Muhammad Ali has a ton of grappling match. I mean, go to his Tapology, you'll see just dozens of grappling matches against everybody. Guys like Gordon Ryan, guys like Marcus Buchecha, who just made his UFC debut, and just a lot more guys, right? This has a ton of grappling experience. He just recently made his MMA debut in January of 2024. And this guy's a BJJ black belt, and he's a world champion, just a very high level, very high, credentialed grappler, just highly credentialed on the mat. I think he's like a 5-time world BJJ champion type thing. But it's very interesting because if you go and watch him fight, you won't see him grapple at all. If you're betting on this guy, especially at minus 235, and thinking, oh, this guy's like a 5-time world BJJ champion. I mean, he doesn't grapple, which it's I don't know how I feel about it, because on the feet, I'm fairly impressed. He has very, very heavy leg kicks, lands very heavy to the body, and he throws his kicks with very bad intentions, and he has so much power on the feet. I saw him land a nice knee to the body in one of his fights, just completely folding his opponent, and he looks good to me. But he's faced 3 bums and Jared Gooden, who again was coming up a weight class on short notice. But yeah, so it's really hard to tell kind of where Ali's at in terms of MMA, but he goes in there, he takes out his dick, and he swings it in there with no regard for his own safety. And I truly believe that Muhammad Ali has fell in love with his hands. He's fell in love with his hands. He doesn't grapple, which is, I don't know, it's just interesting to me. Like, he doesn't even look and even think about grappling in there. So, yeah, this guy hits very hard. This guy's a ton of power. This guy can put your lights out. He's a great athlete. He's massive. He's just a guy that, he's a scary dude. So, yeah, I would like to see him maybe grapple one day. Is he going to grapple here? Probably not, to be honest. But it's kind of cool knowing that he kind of has that in his back pocket, right? But yeah, the striking's dangerous, and wherever the fight goes, like, he's going to be an incredible finisher. So yeah, overall, I'm impressed with Ali. I'm looking forward to him. This guy could be good. This guy could be a really tough dude to deal with. If that striking keeps coming along, not a lot of people are going to want to fuck with this Muhammad Ali guy. As far as Iwu, he's training out of Alligators Fight Club. He's 26 years old, 6 foot, with a 73.5-inch reach. 5-0 and 5-0 in his only 5 fights. Notable wins or losses for Iwu. Iwu has a 100% finish rate, 60% by knockout, 40% by submission. So, yeah, I was impressed with Iwu as well. He has very heavy leg kicks in himself, has a punch of power in his own right. He's extremely aggressive on the feet. One thing I noticed is both these guys are very aggressive when the fight is standing. He looks to land massive shots, and then he looks to get fights to the mat. And yeah, I really like the pressure and volume of Iwu. Has very heavy hands, and his hands are accurate. And anytime this dude lands on his opponents, they get hurt, and they fall down, and they wobble, and they get stunned. Like, he has a lot of power in his hands. And the big interesting thing that I find fascinating about this fight is he will grapple, and he will grapple a lot. Every single fight I watched, for the most part, like, he's grappling, he's taking his opponents down. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be wise here. But yeah, if he does get on top of his opponents, he does have some very nasty ground and pound. The takedown defense looks good to me, and his ground game as a whole looks very good to me. He's very well rounded, and yeah, I really like this guy. He's good everywhere, dangerous everywhere, but he probably shouldn't grapple here. So yeah, it's an interesting fight. I was really impressed with both guys. Iwu is dangerous everywhere. He has serious power in his hands. Ali is still fairly new to MMA, and I don't love his striking defense, but man, this dude's one scary individual with massive power, massive reach. Both these guys are very aggressive, and I think there's a good chance that someone's getting served, and getting served early. I do have major concerns about what happens if this fight does hit the mat, but I'm kind of hoping that we see a stand-up fight here, because if we do, it's going to be, I mean, they're going to swing dicks, right? It's going to be a fun fight, and I think it all comes down to who's able to land that big shot first, and I lean the Ali side. He's bigger, he's longer, has more power, but yeah, I think somebody's going to get hurt and probably carried out on a stretcher with these two. I'm going to take Ali to win this fight and win this fight by first round knockout, but it's a fascinating fight. Ali has these BJJ credentials. Is Iwu going to grapple? Is Iwu going to test his ground game? Or are these guys going to do what I think they're going to do, which is swing dicks and see who falls first? So give me Ali to win this fight. Ali to win this fight by first round knockout. Ali's a minus 235 favorite, and Iwu is plus 200. Now it's time for the main event. Before we get into it, if you guys have not commented down your 5 fight predictions for the card, comment them down. Doing a contest this week, doing a giveaway. Me and Bobby TMF, see who gets it done, and I'll shout you out the next vid. And if you go 0 for 5, you'll get a shout out as well. So we'll do that. So, but let's see who can get the most correct. All right, main event time. We have Hetcher Sosa going against Maxon Lee. We'll start with Sosa, who is training out of AFC Valeba. He's 30 years old, 5'8". He is 13-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Hetcher Sosa. He has a 69% finish rate, 46% by knockout, 23% by submission, for an overall finish rate of 69%. And I'm a big fan of 69. That's for damn sure. Can I get a hell yeah? So yeah, Hetcher has some hard leg kicks. He goes to them a lot. Has a very nice jab, very fast hands, and he's a very confident fighter in there, Hetcher. He's very quick, and he just uses a lot of movement. The only thing I don't love is he does a lot of backing up, and we saw that the other day. Somebody just backing up, and backing up, it just takes a lot of energy. You use a lot of energy just backing up. So not in love with that, but yeah, striking's good. Good combinations, quick hands, heavy low leg kicks, but he does his best work when he's kind of coming forward and letting those hands go. He can be taken down, but he has a really good get-up game. He can be held against a cage and out-muscled at times, which I don't really like to see. But yeah, he can go for takedowns himself. The control isn't the best, but his grappling is slick. He will hunt for submissions. And if he does get on top of his opponent, he's pretty dang good. Has some nasty ground and pound, and he can slice guys open with elbows. I saw one fight where he landed a nasty elbow and the fight was over shortly after. Like, this guy's ground and pound is pretty vicious. And yeah, overall, I say he's pretty decent. But in a lot of his fights, like I said, he's doing a ton of backing up, and I just hate that personally. Other than that, I liked what I saw from Hetcher Sosa. But yeah, he does seem to be pretty decent. The cardio is good, and it's a pretty good fighter overall. As far as Maxon Lee, he is training out of Marquine Fight. He is 26 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach, 9-0, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So yeah, no notable wins or losses for Maxon Lee. He's fought a bunch of 0-0 bums though. He has a 100% finish rate. Half those wins come by knockout. Half those wins come by submission. So notes I have on Lee. He has a nice looking record at 9-0, but the first 7 wins of his career should not count at all. Fought 0-0 bums. I mean, he's fought 7 guys that were 0-0 bums. Limited footage of this guy. Watch his last fight. And they were doing like a promo, and he was shadow boxing in a parking garage, just really weird stuff. And some of his opponents are so bad that they don't even have a Tapology page. I mean, everybody has a Tapology page out there. I mean, how do you not have a Tapology page if you're fighting and you're a pro? So some of the dudes don't even have like a Tapology page. So it's tough to kind of know where Maxon Lee's at. But one thing we do know is this guy's absolutely massive for bantamweight. He's 6'1". I don't know how that's even humanly possible to be 6'1" and weighing in 135 pounds. It makes no sense, and he's going to have a massive height advantage here in this matchup, massive reach advantage in this matchup. I was watching some of his fights, and he was fighting a 5'1" guy. Like, how are you sanctioning that? Why is he fighting a 5'1" guy in there? Like, the guy was literally 5'1". It didn't make any sense. So he's gonna have a strong test here. Like, this is going to be Maxon Lee's toughest test yet by a mile. But yeah, I liked what I saw. He has some good low kicks in his own right. Has some good knees. Does some good body work. And he's just so tall. Just so long in there. And I saw him throw one of those, Chris Barnett spinning back kicks in his last fight. And dropped his opponent. Yeah, so the striking's pretty flashy, pretty good. He can make some mistakes on the mat, and he doesn't really look too comfortable when the fight's on the ground, can be put in some bad spots. And I just did not like what I saw from him on the ground. It can be backed up, can be taken down. So I don't know about Max and Lee. What I do know, though, is, 6'1" is ridiculous. So, yeah, it's a tough fight to call. As far as I'm concerned, Lee is 2-0, and his 7 wins don't count. I don't know how he's making this weight class, but he did it. He made weight, and he looked fine. So we're going to see him fighting at this weight class. It just doesn't look right. It looks weird, but, if he can make weight, good on him. We just don't see 6'1" bantamweights ever. Have we ever seen a 6'1" bantamweight? I know Julian Erosa is, 6'1" at featherweight, but at bantamweight, no, I don't think we've seen that. I think Lee's very exploitable though, especially on the mat. And I think Sosa, who has more experience, who's fought the better competition, who's the better grappler, could definitely take advantage here of that. I'm gonna take Sosa in this one, and I think he wins this fight by second round submission. I just think he's more tested, more well-rounded, and he just looks like the better fighter to me. Lee's big and all, and he has some power, but just really hasn't fought anybody, and so I'm going Sosa here. Sosa by second round submission. We see the odds there. Sosa plus 150 and Max and Lee minus 175. There you guys have it. Thanks for watching. If you guys could do me a favor on your way out, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All 3 of those things help a ton. Again, comment down your 5 fight picks, doing a contest giveaway for week number 6. I will not be around for the Fight Companion this week. I'm out of town till the weekend. We'll be back doing the Fight Companion next week for week number 7. And if you want to support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my Contender Series content. I got my best bet article out already. The betting breakdown video out already. I do have 1 bet for this card on a total. So check me out at dfsbythenumbers.com. And best of luck for Dana White's Contender Series week number 6. We'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.